Hi, I'm Joe Saunders with Miniature Landscape Hobbies, and in this episode we're going to try out a brand new series of paints by Golden Maple. These paints are flesh tone and should be a great addition to your collection. Let's get to it. Miniature Landscape Hobbies is proudly supported by these sponsors. Skin tones are probably the most dreaded single subject for miniature painters. Humans, of course, know what a face should look like, and since everyone has a face, I think, making models reflects the actual appearance of this most crucial element of the human form, and this is pretty tough. Fortunately, there are a lot of options to deal with this. Painting to a lower standard and just accepting it, sending the more coarsely painted models to the back rank of your Wargaming unit, or simply choosing subjects wearing full head coverings, or that don't have a face at all, are all popular workarounds. But try as you might, at some point in time, you're going to need to paint skin and faces, and to a decent standard. Searching the options out there, you can find a ton of products for this purpose. Some are better than others. Speed paints and other zenithal paints are really popular right now, but these are pretty unconvincing for creating skin tones, at least on their own. This means most model painters still fall back on old-fashioned acrylic layer painting to do the job. But preparing your acrylic arsenal can be hard in and of itself. There are a lot of skin tone variations in nature, and it's hard to know what to collect. It was with this conundrum in mind that I was approached by Golden Maple a couple of months back. This company is known for its brushes, which I use and enjoy, but they are also expanding into paints for miniatures as well. And one of their newest additions is an 8-piece skin tone set. This looked promising to me, and they very generously sent me a sample to try. In this video, we're going to take a deep dive, putting this paint set through its paces. Could this be the one-stop solution for providing the right selection of colors for painting faces and other skin tones? Let's find out together. Before we proceed here, I need to mention that Golden Maple is an affiliate sponsor of Miniature Landscape Hobbies. This means that you can find a link in the video description to buy their products and also get a handy discount code. This allows me to collect a small commission to help support the channel, which I really appreciate. Despite this, I remain committed to providing the best options to my viewers to stretch their hobby buck, so I'll be providing as realistic of an evaluation of this product as possible. Let's get down to business. Looking at the box this came in, you get 8 flesh tone paints and a size 0 sable brush. I'm new to Golden Maple paints, but I've been using their brushes for a while. They produce a really good product, so an extra sable pointed size 0 is a nice addition that any painter will really appreciate. Moving on to the paints themselves, we get chocolate rose, natural skin, rosy pink, sunlit skin, balanced skin, dark flesh, fair skin, and matte skin. These are acrylics of the thicker type, sort of like Vallejo produces. They come in a dropper bottle, which is great. To get a closer look, I put these on a wet palette. I like my paints thin, so a wet palette is a must for my style, but you could of course use any palette. Some of the colors were thicker than others, but none were too runny. Consistency seemed good, and pigmentation was very dense. With this investigation, I decided the best way to proceed would be to put the paints through their paces. And to do this, I prepared a couple of North Star miniatures from the Canadian Trading Company set. This is for Silver Bayonet, but of course you could use these models with fantasy subjects, sci-fi subjects, or pretty much anything. First up, I used balanced skin. This appeared to be the darkest flesh tone in the kit, so I thought it was likely the best base layer. I thinned this just a bit with acrylic thinner and began brushing it on. I gave the full skin surface of the hands and face on each model a good coat, working over a light gray primer with white zenithal effects. This color went on smoothly and with great coverage, really only requiring one coat. I really couldn't find any issues with this, except as a base color it dried a little light. But perhaps if I used a black or brown primer, this would not have been an issue. Next I went with natural skin. This just seemed to fall midway between the different tones. Like any acrylic layering method, I picked out the areas that wouldn't fall in shadow, leaving the balanced skin layer exposed in the depths. When this was dry, which happened pretty quickly, I went on to paint only the most raised surfaces with fair skin. Stopping to take a look at my work, I saw that the results were a good start, but they needed to be deepened. Now, to be honest, if I had laid a red-brown base down before I started on the flesh tones, this might have fixed it. But I also thought this gave me a cool chance to try some of the other colors as a wash. So I grabbed the reddish chocolate brown and thinned it until it was translucent. Then I brushed this into the deeper crevices and the shadowy areas on the model. This gave some reddish skin tones back to the work. At this point, I had used 4 colors from the set, and I was fairly happy with the work. If this was for a rank and file model, I'd just varnish the work, line in with an enamel panel liner, and be done. But I wanted to do a little more with this job. To smooth out the transitions between colors, I decided I needed a unifying wash. But here I hit a bit of a speed bump. Of the 8 paints in the set, nothing approximates a flesh wash product, so I pulled out another brand and washed down the work. This was, however, a good test, as it demonstrates that the golden maple paints combine just fine with other brands. And after the flesh wash was dry, everything was unified and deepened. So I went back and highlighted the most prominent surfaces with fair skin, and finally a very tiny accent of white from another brand went on to the points of each model's chin, nose, and cheeks. This completed the actual skin painting I had planned, but since I still had the hair to do on most of the models, I came up with a challenge. I would see if I could combine the golden maple paints with Army Painter speed paints to create midtones and highlights on the hair. In the case of some of the models, I wanted orangish-brown hair, so I laid down hardened leather speed paint. Then I applied midtones with a mix of 75% sunlit skin to 25% hardened leather. After this, I finished the hair off with a straight highlight of slightly thin sunlit skin. And if anything, I like this effect more than the work on the faces and hands of the models. This pretty much concluded my planned tests, but what did I think of the set? Well, I have to say, these paints are really quite good. They do what they say, and they do it well. If you want to paint skin tones, Caucasian ones in particular, then I would suggest anyone building or restocking their skin tone paint selection should go out and get this kit. Also, and very importantly, these paints combine flawlessly with all the other brands I tested. But that being said, nothing is perfect, so let me mention a few issues I had with this set. First, the variety of colors in this kit are suitable only for very bright Caucasian flesh tones. This is fine, but the colors in the kit aren't varied enough to create models of other ethnicities. The miniatures I was using to test the kit included some native Canadians, and there just wasn't a color to work with here. I ended up using warrior skin instead from the speed paint line. However, I did mix some matte skin from the set into this for midtones, and I used matte skin as a final highlight, and I thought this worked pretty well. The other thing I want to mention here is that the set isn't a complete one-stop shop for someone that wants to paint skin tone and faces. Mind you, it almost is because of the variety of tones, but I really feel the kit would benefit from adding a deep red-brown for creating a base layer or mixing with other colors to help paint other skin types. The included chocolate brown or dark flesh colors just aren't dark enough. Also, I would suggest that maybe a flesh wash and a bottle of straight white would also be good additions to the set to really round it out as a one-stop option to get your full paint selection up to snuff. That being said, if you were to buy this set, and you should, it's not asking a lot just to get a bottle of a reddish brown, like maybe Calvary Red, a bottle of any brand of flesh wash, and a bottle of plain white at the same time. These combined with the set should be enough to make a great selection to handle any number of skin tones, which would get a beginner in the painting game very fast. Also, if you're an experienced painter, you likely have these peripheral products already, so you can just buy this kit and enjoy. So there you have it, my review of this great paint set. It may not be the one-stop shop to skin tone painting that we all want, but it comes darn close. And with Golden Maple's ongoing commitment to providing an exciting range of new products for miniature painters, I bet we'll see this being realized in the near future. In the meantime, if you'd like to purchase this paint set for yourself, please consider using the link in the video description. There you'll also find a 10% discount code to help you stretch your hobby buck. And at the same time, you can also support my channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week with more miniature and model building content. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and consider checking out supporting my Patreon for some good perks and more discounts on hobby supplies. But most importantly, please remember to keep building life in miniature.